Good morning, everybody. Let's talk about every game happened on January 21st, 2026. The first one is the Cavs. Very low scoring game. Unexpected. 94-87. The Cavs beat the Hornets. How about Jalen Tyson? For now, he needs to be rostered. Played 30 minutes, took 17 shots, 14 points. Didn't shoot the ball that well, but he has enough usage and minutes to be a must roster at the moment. Donovan Mitchell struggled a little bit, had 8 turnovers, 24 points, and was a -3. Mobley and Allen, both guys playing 35 minutes. That's great. Mobley had more defensive stats and 14 rebounds, but, on this team, it's just hard for him to break out, I feel like. He's not going to have, let's say him and Jalen Johnson, switch. Mobley would just have way more assists. He's going to have the ball in his hands. But because you have Donovan, you have Garland, right, you're playing within that offensive system, and you just don't get that many touches. And then if he doesn't get those defensive stats, right, if he's not playing at the center, sometimes it's harder to get blocks. So Mobley just hasn't break out yet. It's been years. Dean Wade played 27 minutes, not much, not much there. For the Charlotte Hornets, Diabate, let's roster him. He's a must roster. They are giving him more minutes over Ryan Kalkbrenner. If you're holding Ryan Kalkbrenner, it's okay to let him go. He had a good run. They're just not giving him minutes right now. Maybe he will in a month or two, but just not right now. And he's not worth it to hold. He's not that good. But Diabate, let's roster him. 1 steal and 3 blocks in 29 minutes is good. Brandon Miller, 24 points, -19. And now they just have LaMelo come off the bench. What a game from LaMelo. He goes 1 for 15. 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals and block. It's okay. If you drafted him in the 3rd round, it's obviously disappointing, but if anything, I'll buy low for LaMelo. Throw him a top 60-ish, top 70 player. He's been worse than that. So execute these type of trades because he does have the upside. Let's say, actually, let's see where Charlotte Hornets is. Is it possible for them to sniff the 10th seed? Yeah, they're winning striking distance. They're only 3 games behind. So let's see. I'll buy LaMelo Ball after this game. Yeah, 1 for 15. Try to buy low. Miles Bridges played just 26 minutes as well, and Kanipo, well, he played really well. 11 rebounds, 21 points, and he was a +8. Clearly he's, he stands out from this team. Really great shooter, and he's playing winning basketball, which a lot of other guys, I don't know if I can say about Miles Bridges. He can get numbers, but, Move on to the next one, the Pacers. They lost to the Celtics, 104, 119. The Celtics, they're just very consistent beating back teams. And then you have the Pacers' worst team. Really worried about Siakam. 32 points, 10 rebounds, 4 threes. That's good. I'll try to sell him. Aaron Nesmith, I think it's okay. He was a -28. He was horrible here, but I would roster him for now because he's getting close to 30 minutes. Andrew Nembhard must roster, 9 assists and 9 points. But, you have Benedict Mathurin out. So, Aaron Nesmith should get good usage. But, he only took 9 shots here. They even started Johnny Furphy. Yeah, this team is just Jay Huff still playing well, 2 steals and blocking 15 minutes. He still needs to be rostered, but the minutes is really up and down. But I would really try to sell Siakam. Every game that goes by that they're not winning, the probability that they're gonna just shut him down. Not shut him down, but they're just not gonna play for real, and that's obviously gonna tank his value. For the Celtics, Jaylen Brown 30 points. 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals. That's pretty good. Peyton Pritchard, 8 assists and a steal. He's also just been disappointing all year. Peyton Pritchard on the season. He did not really improve that much. If anything, his rankings actually got lower versus last year's. 73rd ranked player. Just 16 points, 2.5 threes, 5.4 assists. Yeah. Pretty disappointing, I would say. Derek White, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Derek White is just so inconsistent, to be honest with you, when it comes to his scoring. But he's still a great fantasy player because of the defensive stats he provides. But he's just so inconsistent. Move on to the next one. Wow, this is embarrassing. The Brooklyn Nets, they only score 66 points. The Knicks, They were losing quite a bit. They had a team meeting, maybe got their defense right. Michael Porter Jr. 12 points, 4 for 14, and our friend Ken Thomas plays. He's close to droppable. He really is. He does have the upside, but I just don't know how much upside he really has if they keep making him come off the bench. But I would still hold because you're just not gonna have you're not gonna find these type of players on the waiver wire. And of course he can go on for a 2-week, 3-week stretch where he averaged 30. Right? You don't find that this guy is on the waiver wire. Now if this is the playoffs and you need to win, you drop him. He's only holding him for some upside. And then Noah Clowney, they've been starting Drake Powell 25 minutes. He's not really a great fantasy player. So yeah, this Brooklyn Nets team, they don't really have that many great fantasy players. If Michael Porter Jr. gets traded, that'll be interesting to see who is really going to take all these shots if it's not Cam Thomas. For the Knicks, Cat plays his 20 minutes, 14 points, 8 rebounds. It's still had 3 fouls, but it's okay. Jalen Brunson had 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. For all the starters played okay, but I think the issue here is a lot of guys are probably not happy. Like OG played 30 minutes, only took 4 shots. Mikal Bridges 11 points, 4 rebounds and 4 assists. The Knicks have a great roster. You have Mitchell Robinson come off the bench. You have Yabusele, who's a quality player. Hasn't really get that many playing time. Landry Shamet went 6 for 6 from 3. Right, all these guys are high quality. Jordan Clarkson, Miles McBride, pretty deep team. Move on to the next team with the Atlanta Hawks barely beat the Grizzlies 124-122. Great win by the Hawks. They've been struggling with CJ, but Jalen Johnson took control of this game. 32 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists, and a steal. And most importantly, hit his free throws. He was struggling a little bit, just trying to learn how to play CJ. But of course, this game you play versus the Grizzlies, who don't play much defense, likes to run up and down. So it's a great game to get his, confidence back a little bit. Nickeil Alexander-Walker struggled. He had a big game last game, hit like 7 threes. Still great, with no Trae Young, he's starting. Must roster play the rest of the way. Dyson Daniels struggled, no defensive stats, 8 assists, 7 rebounds. Just things like this kind of just tell us if there's one guy, his entire value is 90% of his value is based on one category. Next year, you don't really draft him early. You just don't. And we've seen this with Jaren Jackson Jr. too. Like in some years, he would get drafted in the second round. He give you some points, some threes, but most importantly, just his blocks. If the 2.8 blocks turn into 1.5, he just dropped 50, 60 spots. So, and usually these type of players, they're not, one category players, they're not really like a good, like the number one guy on the team. So sometimes they lose their minutes too, especially for big men. It's just very risky. Okongwu played a decent game, but had 7 turnovers, 18 points, 4 threes, and 9 rebounds is pretty good. And CJ McCollum, if you want to hold on to him, that's fine. They're giving him some minutes and usage. For the Grizzlies, Ja Morant, he's playing a lot better as of late. 23 points, 12 assists, still and 3 blocks. And we're still, I don't know when the trade deadline is, but we're still like maybe a month out. Let's see if he gets traded or not. So with him playing healthy, Cam Spencer just doesn't get enough minutes and usage. I don't think he needs to be rostered right now. If Ja gets traded, for sure, you pick him up. Jock Landale is still getting a lot of minutes because they don't have a center. They started John Conchar at the center, played 20 minutes. Jaren Jackson Jr., just no blocks, right? 5 turnovers, 5 personal fouls. This is not the guy. Kind of just like Cat, just super talented, but just hasn't really translated into winning basketball. Jock Landale could be a great stream. We don't know when Zach Edey's going to be back. So, Santi Aldama was out. So, yeah, Jock Landale for sure. Great stream. Had 11 rebounds, 6 offensive. Cedric Coward did his thing, 17 points. But the minutes are just kind of low across the board for some of these guys. Moving on to the next one. We have Detroit Pistons. They beat the New Orleans Pelicans 112-104. They're beating all the bad teams. That's great. And they don't even have Kate Cunningham here. So Jenkins got the start. I think now we know if Kate Cunningham is out, he could be a great stream because he's starting. 2 steals and 2 blocks. He can get you defensive stats. 2 threes, pretty well-rounded guy. Duncan Robinson hit 4 threes, and Tobias Harris had 10 points. Tobias Harris, he just took it to job, but he really doesn't do anything on your team. So probably a guy, in the playoffs, don't be afraid to drop him. He provided efficiency, I guess, some rebounds. Jalen Duren, 15 rebounds, and still at 2 blocks and 20 points. Big game from Jalen Duren. But for him, really, it's about getting more defensive stats, specifically blocks. Ausar Thompson had 3 steals. Happy with that. 9 rebounds and 12 points. For the Pelicans, they really have nothing to play for. I don't know what's going on with Zion Williamson here. Did he? Oh, well, I guess he got sick. Questionable for next game. Played just 14 minutes. He wasn't having a great game before this anyway. Derek Queen played just 23 minutes. Had 8 assists, still on the block. That's great. It's just the minutes. They're giving a lot of minutes to Missy, who actually played more minutes off of the bench. So Derek Queen, giving him 35 minutes a night, I think he's gonna put up great numbers, but he just doesn't get too many opportunity. Trey Murphy, but he's still a must roster. 17 points by Trey Murphy, 2 threes. Could be better, but still added 2 steals and block. And Jordan Poole, we do not need to roster him. Played 26 minutes, took 17 shots, 4 for 17, 11 points. We do not need to roster Jordan Poole. Unless you're punting field goal, you're punting turnovers. But that's the thing, he doesn't really give you that many numbers anyway. Giving you some points, some threes, not a lot of steals. Very disappointing year for Jordan Poole. He was getting drafted in most leagues, but definitely not worth it. All right, moving on to the next one. Technically a big game, Thunder, but the Bucks, they're not that good. Thunder beat them by 20. And Thunder have a lot of injuries right now. Jalen Williams is being out. Isaiah Hartenstein is being out. So Shea is carrying the load. 40 points, 11 assists, 16 for 19. Oh my goodness. What is the Bucks defense doing? Really good game from Shea. AJ Mitchell, he just doesn't get 35 minutes. He played 25 minutes here. Decent game, 18 points. But you have Kendrick Williams, Isaiah Joe, all playing more minutes than him off the bench. So it's hard to say, like, game to game, who is going to play a lot of minutes, because I guess they just go with the vibe, go with whoever had the hot hand that day. So if you want to stream Isaiah Joe, Kendrick Williams, Cason Wallace, AJ Mitchell probably needs to be rostered because Jalen Williams is going to be out for a while. I'm okay with streaming these guys, especially if there's a back-to-back. Chet Holmgren had a big one last game, only 10 points here versus the Bucks interior, 7 rebounds and 7 block. Yeah, Chet Holmgren needs to. Another guy that he's second off. He's always been very, very good in fantasy because of the block shots. 25th ranked player this year, but he just has not improved. It's year 3 for him, year 4. He just hasn't really improved much in fantasy, which kind of makes sense when you play next to Shea. Still just averaging 18 points. Is he ever going to average 23 points on this team? Probably not, right? 8.5 rebounds, so mostly the value coming from the blocks, 2 blocks. If the blocks number go down, he's not going to be a top 30 player. So most value is coming from the blocks. We look at the Bucks. Giannis, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, 19 points. It's decent, but plays just 31 minutes. Why not they going to make a trade? We don't know. But yeah, they gotta make a move. Giannis staying on this team with no trade, they're not going anywhere. So Giannis maybe should be more aggressive. Maybe he is demanding a trade. Just don't waste your time, The news came out but Kevin Porter Jr. is going to be out for a while. That really helps Ryan Rollins. He's a must roster before anyway. 10 points, 7 assists, 3 steals here is pretty good. Bobby Portis played a lot of minutes and somehow had 9 assists. So with Kevin Porter Jr. out, maybe they play him a few more minutes. I'm happy to just stream him or pick him up. They also have this game, Miles Turner was out. So if he continues to be out, Portis could be a great stream. AJ Green hit 4 threes, great 3-point streamer. All right, last game of the night, the Toronto Raptors. You know, they're a road trip. They're doing well. They beat Warriors last night, the night before, and then they beat the Kings. Pretty good stuff. We have Brandon Ingram going for 23 points, 3 threes. He's just so consistent. You know, every game, he's scoring between 18 points to 25, within that range. Scotty Bombs had 23 points, very well-rounded game, 4 steals and block. What a game from him. Sandro got the start, 9 rebounds, 22 points. He can score, he can shoot. So next time if he starts, I'm more than happy to stream him. And we don't know when Pirtle is going to be back. Jamal Shead got the start, 6 assists, 2 steals. Yeah, let's roster him. And Emmanuel Quickly still had a decent one, 18 points, 8 assists, 2 steals. Emmanuel Quickly overall this year has been disappointing, but the last 2 games, he's been very, very good. It's just hard to find enough usage on this team. On the season, he's a 67th ranked player, so it could be worse, to be honest. Averaging 17 points, 2.5 threes, 6.3 assists as well. Just thought maybe he would get more assists, but of course, Scotty had the ball in his hands a lot too. So, Brandon Ingram. So they kind of really distribute the ball a lot. So, not too much left for Emmanuel Quickly, to be honest. We look at the Kings. They just find a way to keep losing. And no surprise, Sabonis was out. Rayner only played 22 minutes, even with Sabonis out. They give Dylan Cardwell 25 minutes, who is a beast in fantasy. If we know, like, hey, he's going to get 25 minutes rest of the way, he's a must roster. But Sabonis should be back next game, and they're going to give him some BS minutes, like 20 to 25. Yeah, I don't know where they're going, to be honest. Why even play Sabonis, if you're just going to play 20 minutes? Russell Westbrook, 23 points. He's putting up great numbers, but of course, they're not playing winning basketball. Zach LaVine, 19 points and 5 assists, and DeRozan just has been horrible. 9 points here, not much else. I wonder when they're going to just shut it down. If any of these guys get hurt, I think this is it. Or they could also make a trade. They trade away Zach LaVine. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow.